Hey, 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 how you doing there, Cowboy Nation? What's up, Soul Shot Riders? And our conscientiousness seekers, seekers of high. This is GLook, and I'm with the conscientiousness consultant G, and this is Cream Rises. Yeah, this is our Sunday morning show. I know y'all ready for the playoffs and all that shit, but we're gonna hit you with the ooh ah, because we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. We love you guys. Man, this is growing. This is fun. It's all empowering. It's the God piece for real, though. Unfiltered to the point. Sometimes people like to feel good, but that ain't gonna do you no good when you trying not to come back here after you die. You get what I'm saying? So that's what's happening.
Right.
And this is our show. Please like, subscribe, and share, and get the word out. We just loving the feedback. God, dog, we're going to start having guests on here. We got, man, a couple of sponsors want to hop in, and we just talking. This how we talk. How you doing today, G?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
We gonna. I know. Like I said, this title I have right now is kind of difficult, but it's
Mm-hmm.
consciousness consultant, and I know I want to dive into that
Consciousness.
word with people too, because I know it's not readily available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
know it's not readily available for everybody's vocabulary. So a lot of people, unless you're in the hyper spiritual world, don't really know what that means or what that is. So we can dive into that too today a little bit, just so people got a little understanding of why I even use that word and the title and whatever we got going on here. You know what I mean?
So, what? So go ahead, hit that right now. Then, why do you use the word consciousness?
Okay. Yeah. So basically,
Conscientiousness or consciousness? What is this shit? Talking about a LA Unified Public School
consciousness.
educated person, motherfucker. I can't say the. Is it the or the, motherfucker? Like, Jesus.
Well, that's why another reason why I like it like that too, because it's like it provides a lot of more like investigation.
Right.
I wanted people to be able to investigate and understand that I don't want to I wanted it to be known of what was pouring through me, that the source had pouring through me in this vessel that is G, in this body,
Yeah.
and what comes through me and what I feel like I'm here to do, and I know that I'm here to do. I got this term and this coined this phrase. Obviously, I didn't come up with the word consciousness, but the consciousness consultant is something that came to me. And consciousness really it's different in certain teachers' perspective, but it points at certain absolutes. And basically, it's the awareness behind everything. So in the spirit world, in the unseen world, everything in the physical comes from the spirit,
Right.
and consciousness points at the birthing of the spirit into manifestation.
That's right.
So it's kind of the awareness, the part of God, the I am part of God, the I am aspect of God that merges with the total awareness of the source that kind of that permeates through physical manifestation in the universe and the multiverse and different type of aspects of the physical universes.
Yeah. So big words and shit scare niggas. You know what I'm saying? Those are big words. I get it. And I'm
Well,
trying to
that's when they
provide a bridge for
yeah,
our viewers. At some point, you'll understand
yeah,
why we do this. It is for empowerment for our people, for people as a whole, but specifically our people to get our youth and the people up under us off the wrong track, but all people. So you're not wasting your time here. So we're trying to
right,
shed lights on different feelings, situations,
right.
emotions, things like that to get you on track so you can have peace and exit a lot of shit out of your system so you could be on the real. So when it's time, to transcend, that you are standing approved before God. You know what I'm saying? If that's a Christian term, but however you want to say it,
Right.
so you don't have to come back for another trial here or to be feeling some kind of way about your existence here as a person and coming back and having to live another lifetime here. I mean, we firmly believe that you live lifetimes here, just so you know, just so people know We believe that these are lifetimes. This is not just you here
Hmm.
to run a touchdown or take down Beyonce
Right.
or lead the Crips, and then that's your legacy. You know, that's a worldly thing. Everybody does something
Right.
worldly. You can be in a village and move all the rocks out the way after the mudslide, nigga. That's your shit. Everybody got something they do here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, so
Right.
what we talking
Right.
about today,
Right.
G?
Right.
What was
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
subject?
So back to what you're saying too, and I want everybody to be encouraged that. Well, first I want to say I want to feel everybody to be encouraged to. That's why to tap in. Don't be discouraged or intimidated by certain words you don't know, or thinking that someone is in a space that you can't understand. I love that me and you do this together, GLook, as my dad in the physical realm, but
Mm-hmm.
also as spirits that have a contract in the spiritual realm,
Right.
because we also can touch different avenues of beings depending on how they relate. But that's why we have the comments and the likes, and they tapping in. You could tap in with us, and
Right.
we can build a rapport so you can understand if you got a
Mm-hmm.
question about something or what something may mean or what I'm pointing at when I use a certain word.
Right.
That's the investigation aspect. So I use higher spiritual words to provoke investigation,
There
because
you
that's
go.
how we get to be known within ourselves and understand what's going on in our place. So I just want to make that real clear so people can understand exactly the direction of why it's presented this way. You
Yeah,
feel me?
that's the
So,
yeah, that's the language
but the
language of
topic today
love.
too, that's the right, right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So the topic today that we were spinning led to lead into today, which was on our heart, was just do people feel abandoned? Do you feel abandoned? Do you feel forsaken? Forsaken.
Yeah.
And I had this on my spirit yesterday, and I feel like it's something that's very congruent in the human experience, the physical experience that we have in this place, where people feel alone or
Yeah.
forsaken or abandoned by life or the
Yeah.
universe or God, or and even their loved ones when they have their families, when things don't go according to plan, people divorce, or the
Yeah.
kids say they hate you, or uh, the job fire you, they lay you off. You've been working there for 30 years. You thought they loved you for some reason, and they just, you got to, hey, you're done now. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that ocean come and just turn it to,
Well, I look at it another way too.
you know,
I mean, for me, when you say forsaken, the reason I was excited to talk about this a little bit because I know from my own personal experiences, a lot of experiences, but just one in particular that just happened really recently. And G knows the backstory and the context, but just generally speaking, as a footprint, when you have something in your heart that you hold on to or you deem valuable to you, and you build your persona and you move a
hmm
certain way based on that, and people react to you basically on what that is, when everybody else says fuck it, that don't mean shit no more. You will feel forsaken. Everybody comes to term and reckoning with that situation. Because
right,
G's
right,
mama, my
right, right.
ex-wife, did a bad thing to me, and motherfuckers, everybody forgave her, right? She forgave herself, and then I said I wanted to forgive her, but then now it's not mine anymore. The hold over anybody's head is not there no more. So sometimes you could feel forsaken because you might build your energy around that bullshit that you said you didn't want, but you built
Right,
so much shit around it.
right.
It's almost like a fat person losing weight. They don't know what to do. You know, it's like somebody that when you
Yeah,
do something that's
yeah.
supposed to be a positive thing, but you so built up on being big, heavy, big this, big that, and now you're not that person anymore. Then people don't treat you the same way. They're actually treating you better, and you're freed up. But you're so used to motherfuckers moving out the way and giving you extra helping food and calling you big this, big that. So you feel forsaken if everybody's okay with the forward movement, but your ass really ain't. Because I wanted to hold on to that shit, to hold that shit over people's head and have a little mystery about it. I wanted to be. I didn't know that until everybody was freed up, and I was like, damn, I don't know if I was ready for that. G. So I think when you come to terms with, do you really want to forgive and forget shit? Or do you build your shit up around the trauma in your life and become a certain type of person? I still wear khakis and crip
Right.
walk and all kind of shit.
Right.
I'm nowhere in the hood. I don't like gang violence, none of that. But I built my whole life up being a semi-tough guy, knowing some tough guys, talking a certain way, moving a certain way. And it took me to be a grown man to kind of know that that was silly as hell. But that was something like, okay, so you mean I don't have to do that no more? You know, so when I go around other people, other
Right.
cultures, I
Right.
don't have to do the LA gang bang culture. I don't have to present that or represent that. So now you're looking at me as a person,
Right.
as GLook, as Greg. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you could feel forsaken a little bit because you think
Yeah.
your whole life
Yeah.
that motherfuckers was really digging you because you from a gang bang culture and you know murderers and you did some things, whatever. But really, you know, that's a burden you let go of, but you kind of liked it. You kind of got used to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's how I see Forsaken, G. I don't
Right.
know if that fits in there.
No, that's an aspect. That's why we're talking about it. That's an aspect of feeling forsaken, and that's what I'm saying. Forsaken is a absolute term, meaning that when I say absolute, I mean that means there's many different sub versions that you can feel forsaken with, which it could be something like you're talking about, or it could be
Right,
something just directly with a God thing, or it could be something in your own self or whatever it may be. So that's a perfect example.
right.
And to just to like expand on that, I feel like one of those things is because we build up identities in our life, like things that we do or who we think we are to other people, or we give what gives us our comfort here. We build an identity around it, and
Right.
sometimes, like you said, that identity could be around something that might be needs to be transcended or overcome, or it could be toxic to what your experience could be. Like you said, it could be something that was traumatic that you
Hmm.
build an identity to keep hold you in a certain place and you became comfortable with that. So then
Right.
when you let go of that and everything that it meant to you is gone, so you could feel like abandoned, right? Forsaken. So my point is that God is always more. So God is always, when I say God, the source of all things, the spirit behind the
Hmm.
great spirit, the great I am behind all things in creation is always, it's infinite. So there's always a space to be for a higher realization or a higher knowing in things. So when those things are ripped from us,
Yeah.
at first it's uncomfortable, but it's really creating space and holding space for something higher for you to you experience in a higher way. You know
Right.
what I mean?
So
But
let me
but
ask
like
you
you
something.
said, you can still
I
feel
wanted to ask
abandoned.
you.
You can still
I wanted to ask you something while you in that vein right there. Um. So I'm gonna call that nigga shit.
okay.
Right. So you hold on to shit. You move a
Hmm.
certain way. You 0 to 100. If somebody say this or do that, I'm gonna call my cousin. I'm gonna shoot a nigga. I'm gonna do this because you built up like a tank that's wound up, ready, because you have put that into your personality, and it's not really a natural or godly thing to be. So when you don't have that anymore, or you feel like a pussy, or you feel like a person that stepped on, or you feel like a higher person that don't need to be around that. So now you don't interact with people. There's a lot of things that come with freeing yourself up because it has to be in love. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be something you don't do. It got to be
Right.
something that you love not being a part of you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just say,
Exactly.
just putting this in perspective of the show Cream Rises is something that we need to teach the youth. We have to break generational curses of within the black community, but in the world community. But I'm only relating to nigga shit. you know, can't teach them babies nigga shit
Right.
coming up. Then they have to undo that or have a reckoning or a realization, which they can because God is all powerful. But why not have a whole movement like that, and we begin to change our culture, and that's some of the healing we need to do to stop the gun violence and stop the drugs and the mental illness and a lot of one-offs that come when you're housing a personality that's not really yours in your body. You can get mentally ill.
Right. Yeah. And that's part of what happens is our mind becomes fragmented when we're trying to upkeep different identities based upon what we think we are supposed to be or our own survival. So, for instance, you may have identity that you put out there because you was raised in the hood, that you might have this gang identity, but really it's unhealthy or it should be transcended at a certain point in your life. But you have so much marbles you put in it that it feels like you've forsaken yourself to let that go. But what happens is life is going to have you let it go at a certain point.
Right. Right. Right.
It's gonna have you let it go because you gotta, this is all about evolution.
Right.
This whole experience is about evolution
Mm.
and inner evolution in particular.
That's right.
Not just physical experience. Physical experience is a setting, a way to have inner evolution, which is to
Mm.
go back to our true nature, to go back to what we really are.
Right.
So then your mind becomes more one and unified. So you have less what you would call mental illness, which can permeate through the human experience because we're fragmented,
Right.
meaning our aspects of our mind and our consciousness and our identity is fragmented in what we think we should be from based upon what we are.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
that is what you're talking about, how we can relate to different beings and people that need to hear certain things and have that operate within them. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, there's physical manifestations of that. You got niggas with money in their pocket and
Hmm.
Bentleys downtown shooting people. So they feel like they still got to be the tough
Right.
guy with the
Yeah.
Bentley and the money.
Yeah. It's not
Can't let it go. They feel
right.
forsaken if they do, or
Right.
like they're forsaking something that they were built in.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. And
Right.
and
The whole thing with the and like again, I ain't qualified. Like I like to because to me anything that's not done out of a vibration of love is not truth anyway. Truth is love. Love is not necessarily a certain action or a doing because that's subject of human perspective. It's more of a vibration. It's a space that you hold. It's a fragrance that comes off of you. And so when you come from that space, you only can love when you become one with yourself because you love the divine in yourself. You love yourself as yourself truly, which is beyond even your flesh. So what I'm saying is
yeah,
when we talking about these type of things, we're talking about we got to point at some absolutes to bring it back home because the whole experience in this place as a human, quote unquote, like a human or the identity and name they gave you in this body we in and all that type of stuff is not to be negated. It's to have it to see something higher in it and within it. But at the same time, the identities of it is what keeps you bound.
hmm
There's to be trapped by certain identities in the places what keeps it bound. So you're not letting the experience be fluid and you're not allowing it to come and go and flow like a river so you can see the point and you
right.
can understand what's being shown to you. So
hmm
what happens is when you get rigid and you hold on to certain identities, then you're not able to evolve within yourself to see what's really what, which causes uneasiness and
Right.
restlessness in the mind and in the body and the spirit and the system,
Mm.
and causes what we would call like the resistance to life of the resistance of what is, which can cause you kind of have angst and grief and all that stuff within yourself. And the evidence of us becoming more one with that and relaxing into what is more peace, more love, more space, more grace within us, things like that, because we are now one with life and surrender to the movement of life in that space,
I want I
which
want to go
is
I want to go back to
the
something.
point. Now, I know,
Go ahead. I wanted to say, just speak on something you just said before you get far from it. If what you do is not couched in the vibration of love, is bullshit. Would that be a definitive
right.
statement that just to put out there for the people so they can really grasp on where we're going, the
Yeah,
next level where we're going with it? If it's not about
yeah,
love,
it's just an illusion. Like
yeah.
it could, yeah, it'll be a fact, but it won't be true.
I
It could be a
see.
fact, but it won't be true. And I don't know if people know the difference of.
Yeah. It'll be a fact, but it won't be true. Now, in the show, we're getting emails, we're getting texts, we're getting DMs, and people are responding to the languages we're speaking on the show and the words that we're using from the perspective of a higher teacher that's coming with an absolute truth based on spiritual evidence. You're going to hear words from G and statements like that us as laymen that live day to day, that try
Mhm.
to just fight and don't necessarily walk in a higher consciousness throughout the world, and you say something like that, it could be a fact, but not the truth, right? I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand it, but it's not something that you could just
yeah,
grab
yeah.
real easy and just say, okay, that's a fact. but it ain't the truth. So give me an example of that.
Right, right. Okay, yeah. And so the truth, so I differentiate the truth and a fact like this. So you have the truth is an energetic thing. It's a vibratory thing. It's from the spirit. It comes from the spirit. The evidence of truth comes from the spirit that things are done in, not the thing that's being done, right? So for instance, let me use a practical example. Let's say um you host a party, right? You host a barbecue or something, and you invite people over, and you do all the niceties, and you have everything going on. You have whatever. You making burgers. People are in the pool and all that stuff.
Right.
But in actuality, you have no vibratory connection with none of the beings there. You don't really connect with them in that way. You're not really doing it as an overflow of your love to see people thrive in the space that you could hold. You may be doing it because someone had told you that that's necessary for you to do, for you to get a
Right.
certain thing or something like that, right? Or you need a
Mm-hmm.
certain objective out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just use that. Now, on paper, it's a fact that you had the party. It's a fact that people are eating. It's a fact they there jumping in the pool, having drinks and communion. But
Right.
it's not the truth. It's not a representation of the truth, because your heart and your vibration and your essence of your spirit is not in one and not unification with what's being shown.
So
So
yeah, no, I agree.
there's
I
something I
agree.
always talk about this.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Hmm.
I just have one more
But I want to
example.
expand on it a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you one more
Oh, okay.
example though first.
I'm just going to expand because I think.
Yeah, because the track is a
Okay.
fact.
Okay.
So you with your girl, it's a fact.
Mhm.
She's beautiful. Y'all have wild sex. She does all
Mhm.
these wonderful things, and you doing back to her. That is a fact, but it's not the truth. It's not the
Right.
truth. The feeling, the emotion behind it, as far as the spiritual connection to it, may not be the truth. Is that similar?
Right. Right.
You
Right.
could do all the ooh
That's a
ahs and all
that's
that
a perfect
shit.
example. That's an
Yeah.
example that's
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, that's readily available for most people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a song out
Yeah.
called "Your
And I
Mind,
was
Your
gonna
Body's
say,
Here with Me, but Your Mind's on the other side of town." They made songs about shit like that. The fact is, your body is with me, but the
right, right,
truth is
right.
that your mind's on the other side of town. So from a lens, it looks like the same. It looks like,
Exactly.
wow, them like they making great love. They must love each other or something. You could look at it and see something that's the truth. They are doing that, but the fact, that's a fact. But it's the truth is, her mind is thinking about, Shaq or somebody. Yeah, I
Right,
get it. I get it. I just want to put that
right,
out to the
right,
people.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that's very easier, more tangible. And I was gonna say, just on the heels of that, to kind of segue that in and make it more relevant, is that like, so those are relevant, like natural, like experiences that we have that could be just very raw examples of that. Obviously,
Hmm.
there's more than that, but there's a reason. There's a congruency in also, like, spirituality always comes down to the spirit of things, right? Like,
Hmm.
even let's say Jesus. Jesus says, you know them by the fruit of their spirit,
Uh huh.
not the fruit of their action,
Right.
not
Okay.
by the fruit of their works or their doings,
Right.
the fruit of their spirit, meaning whatever is done from a certain spirit, has a certain fragrance. It has a
Right.
certain essence that comes off of it, because you got to understand, if you weigh and measure things by only action, you're subject to human perspective and human preference,
Right.
which can convolute what's really happening, because not every action is going to be your preference. So you can always put it as whatever you want to label it as, but you
Ah.
cannot mislabel the fragrance and the essence and the spirit of which somebody's doing things.
Uh.
That's why Jesus says, by the fruits of the spirit, you smell like peace. You
Mm-hmm.
smell like love and like faith. Even if you do something that someone won't agree with,
Mm-hmm.
your essence and your spirit is going to overfill the place with those type of things, because you are made of that spirit. It's the fruit of the spirit. It's an invisible, unseen, tangible thing that the spiritual world pushes through beings that are
Damn, that's real shit.
finding themselves in a space with the source,
I'm gonna bring that home real quick
right?
because
That's what I want to take away the confusion.
I'm gonna bring that back because, like you said, no confusion. Just to know, we started the show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel forsaken? You will feel forsaken if your
Mm-hmm.
actions is not based on what G just described. You're subject to being forsaken
Mm-hmm.
because you're not bringing anything based on love and the truth. You're basing it on an action and a fulfillment at the time.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, just so that this couches just back to what we need to be teaching our kids and what we need to learn ourselves as far as the cream is going to rise, because you're not going to go to you're going to come back here if you still keep operating that way. And so that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson right there. I mean, it's something to hold on to. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you do,
Mm-hmm.
what you do is what you do. you know, what you are, who you is a difference. That's why some people are better than
Right.
others. Some people are better than others because they can do that. So first of all, let's stop fucking around saying everybody equal, all men are the same, all that type of shit. Jesus did pick certain motherfuckers. People are better than others. So to be better than other motherfuckers and your best, you might want to get on that love train with that love vibration. It's going to make you better, a better human, a better motherfucker in this vessel while we're here. It's okay, too. Some people prettier. How come some people could be richer, prettier, more well endowed, bigger titties, bigger body, faster, but you don't want to say some motherfuckers is better spiritually? We don't want to say that. But we can say people are better. LeBron better than me at basketball. Chris Brown sing better than me. Motherfuckers is better at certain things.
Yeah.
So we don't have to stop when it comes to our spiritual awareness and who we are and our vibration, because you don't want to be standing next to motherfuckers that ain't as good or better than you or as best at their best, because that shit rub off on you. That vibration is hard to be around a lot of low vibrations. When you go on the higher vibrations, first you can't talk to them or see them, and you feel some kind of way, start acting like a weirdo and shit because you're better than them. It's okay. Yeah, cream rises. The best motherfuckers ain't coming back. So I'm trying my best to be in that number. When the saints go marching in,
Right.
I don't want to be in that number when the saints go. They even saying it in Christian songs and Christian Lord, nigga, somebody's better. Some motherfuckers is better. Right? So let's get that bullshit out the way first, nation. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share at least that part,
Right.
so you can know who you talking to, who you listening to on this
Right.
podcast. We think some motherfuckers is better than others, but we think you can stop being not better and being your best if you change up. And I'm just saying, that has to be said, so you don't think we just on here talking like we trying to be some kind of wise ass motherfuckers that just talking to have a podcast, motherfucker. That helps our people. We don't have banks. We don't invent cars. We don't have no guns we make.
Right.
Other motherfuckers are better. They're better at that. But we might have, because we don't do that, we don't have shit to hold on to but God and his grace and love. So that's a good, might be a pretty good for us as American blacks.
A blessing.
Yeah.
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 Blessing. Yeah. You're not gonna be confused or convoluted about what's really what.
You're a humble guy, man. You're a sweet person. I just want y'all to know. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Always can hit. It's gonna be in the community section. Some of these words we're using, gonna put some definitions up, get some gear out there, because we got a little nation of people that's feeling us. But don't get it fucked up.
Mm.
We're pouring in because it's our rightful duty in love to pour out to people. So God gonna say, what you do?
Right.
What you do besides
Right.
just play football and gangbang and do all the shit you did and did a magazine? I've done a lot of worldly things. You're gonna be like, well, what'd you do? I'm gonna say I went and I got a podcast and start pouring into people.
What did you do?
I'll share the good news.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And then just
Right.
through me, G came. G is a
Exactly.
spiritual person. You know, this is anointing. We didn't ask for this. This is put
Mm-mm.
beyond upon you. You know what I'm saying? In a spiritual connection, a love contract with God,
Mm-hmm.
in a spiritual thing. So don't think that it's some kind of a hierarchy of thinking that y'all ain't shit. But some just know some motherfuckers are better than others. So I want my woman around a lot of you dudes. But y'all some great lovers. You just handsome and tall and shit. Nigga, I don't want my woman around y'all. You better at that. If she's shallow. But if she on some high shit, none of you niggas ain't better,
Right.
nigga. So let's just get that straight.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. It's a spectrum and dimensions and proximities to the divine. So,
Yeah.
different anointings, different crowns, different robes. You know what I mean?
So
So yeah,
you can feel
I love how
abandoned.
you say it, G. Look, I love how you keep it.
You can feel abandoned
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like what you thought was better
Mm-hmm.
and you get a consciousness or you get enlightened and it's not shit is where you can feel forsaken and abandoned because you
Right.
spent your whole life on some bullshit. You know, just to couch it back into
Right.
the subject. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Yeah, man. I was
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Right. And we gonna just for the just for the crowd to know too, and everybody to know, like, because this is an intuitive podcast, so we got titles, and we gonna always bring back home to the topic, especially if y'all
Mhm.
put out topics that y'all want to talk about. But we
Mhm.
channeling. Well, I
Mhm.
channel like it's
That's right.
intuitive for me. I don't write no shit down or nothing. Like this is I trust in God's spirit,
Mhm.
and God leads because it's by a higher will that is happening, a
Mhm.
higher purpose. So, but we gonna always come back down. That's why I got GLook there to keep the check of making sure that we bringing it and tying it back to the topic. If y'all got specific topics y'all want to talk about,
Mhm.
so and we can
Mhm.
bring that back into abandonment because, like you said, if you don't have the consciousness and awareness to know that certain things that's being said right now, you can feel abandoned when you're going through your transitions and you ascending and you evolving and you changing your definitions are changing and your identities are changing and what you thought was what is like don't mean nothing now and this means something now. You could feel abandoned if you're not open and available to understand that is a spectrum of consciousness and light, and the source is constantly evolving us and keeping us open in our heart and our spirit and our soul open for this advancement in that way to being closer and higher
Right.
states of consciousness and awareness and existence. You know what I mean? So
But
that
hey,
that's
G,
we do. You
people do
can
it
feel.
anyway. People
Mm-hmm.
do it without knowing they're doing it. You got your
Mm-hmm.
homeboys you ran with when you was 25 years old, and y'all was going to Vegas to the fight, taking girls down, making money, just waxing your cars on Sundays and shit. And then 10 years later, that group is not together anymore because you have ascended to another responsibility where those values aren't there with you, and the niggas that stay on it feel abandoned. Damn, man, they don't call me no more. We don't go to the, they may feel abandoned. You know what I'm saying? Abandonment
Right.
because
Right.
so on a spiritual level, it's gonna be times 1,000 because it's even certain words you don't even want to hear somebody say or you won't mention anymore because the meaning of those words don't mean shit. Yeah.
You're right.
How you gonna
Right.
tell me look
Right.
at her ass? Nigga, I ain't 25. Nigga, I look at a woman, I look at the whole being and the spirit in her, and I look at other things. I don't just look at her ass. Because, first of all, I'm old. What I'm going to do
Right.
with
Right.
that? You know, what I'm trying to do? you
Right.
know, I'm looking at your spirit. Are you trying to destroy me? And keep me from being with God?
Right.
Of course, so.
He's trying to destroy me.
Nigga, I respect a nigga with a little car to save
That's funny.
gas way more than that nigga with that low rider that spent all that money on that low rider. Yeah, so anyway. Hey G, we
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
any
man.
final words, but
That's good shit.
we're gonna have to wrap it up. We're going past 30 minutes here, and I know well, we don't have to, but I try to keep it to where they can stay tuned to us and stay in touch with us, and you've been hitting some great points today about what that abandonment is. So what is the final answer on when somebody says I feel abandoned? what would you say to them in your counseling? And by the way, he does have private counseling. Hit him in the DMs and stuff. Does just has helped so many people, just see things and let loose of things. But what would you say about that, G?
Yeah, so like I said, abandonment on any level, first and foremost, any being that you respect or that you look to, whether it's a spirituality or just an even thing worldly or business or anything like that, has always felt these thresholds. And part of that feeling of abandonment is knowing that something greater and higher is coming and in your experience. So once you know that, then it doesn't feel like abandonment to you or forsakenness. You bear it with joy because you know that the source is pulling you up and evolving you to a higher state. So we bear. That's why they said Jesus bore his cross. He bear your cross daily. It says, you know what I mean. That's why it
Mm-hmm.
says, the Buddha was on that tree and he bore his life. So because we knew something greater is coming. So even if it's something little, petty and little in human consciousness, if that's where you're starting from, or if it's something that seems like it's super hyper spiritual, at the end of the day, as we transcend these spectrums and God is removing unnecessary identities and unnecessary things from our consciousness to purify our heart and our soul and our spirit in oneness with source, you might feel some of these avenues, like in the Bible says, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, sometimes it's going to feel like that, but it won't fully feel like that as we understand and we hold space for what's been said and spoken here and from
Right.
our other brothers and sisters that speak from faith and hope and love, to
Right.
hold the space to know that God has set it up perfectly for us to transcend this mortal flesh and then to see God fully and fully in unimaginable and unexplainable experiences and bliss outside of this place. So we're always evolving and being pulled to that. If you need more um, dialogue on this or specifics, you can always hit me up. Like I said in my IG, the Consciousness Consultant. You can hit me up. We can schedule something. We can talk. We give freely and we pour out freely because we were given to freely, but we also work off donations, and we do have specific charges for certain things that are asked just because of the amount of energy it takes. But you see where we have down there the Cash App, we live off donations and just the love that you feel from overpouring for what you have. And but this is given from God. This is God's will. So we do it regardless because it's who we are. It becomes who you are. So we know those who have the heart and the spirit to share and exchange in love. And like I said, you guys, any more topics and stuff like that, put them in, subscribe, like, share, comment. We can keep expanding on those things, but definitely this is the calling and the charge of the day and the channel for the day. What's up with you, GLook?
That's good. That sounds funny to me.
What you
I'm
got?
always going to look at a humorous side because I know that Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman and all these great actors, Brad Pitt and all of them, they were actors before they was paid. They was doing stage and they was honing their craft with
Mm-hmm.
classes, and they stand out amongst actors because they're so good. Daniel Day-Lewis and all them guys, right? But when the movie come out, they still go on Jimmy Kimmel's show and everybody say it did talk about the movie, get motherfuckers to go see the movie so they get paid. so, so at the end of the day, they would
Mm-hmm.
have acted for
Right.
free, and they're actually good actors. And you can look at old movies that they've done and get fulfilled. But when that new movie coming out, you see them motherfuckers. So that's no different than just saying, hey, y'all, just support the craft a little bit, hit that Cash App, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
anything would help, what I'm saying, toward gas money and just our time and energy and stuff like that. Show appreciation, what I'm saying, and send us your comments and your
Mm-hmm.
letters and things like that to let us know that we are resonating with you. So, without any further ado on this Sunday, just want to give a special thanks to our technical crew, which is Jay Verna and all that. And so, he does a great job of keeping us in place. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and let us know how you
Mm-hmm.
feel. And without further ado, we just want to just tell you guys to have a great Sunday. Send your prayers out for our mom, for G's grandmama, my mom, and we'll just keep it moving. So thank you guys. Cream
Right. Thank
rises.
y'all. Thank y'all. Remember,
Yeah,
love is a spirit.
that's right.
Cream rises.
Cream rises.
See you like to blame them onions when you cry. But you so sweet, now them onions caramelized. You been asleep, I guarantee I open eyes. Warrants and warranties I can't pronounce. Yeah, I showed up in this world unannounced. Solid gold was the throne I renounced. Lost myself just to